But Rob, let's stick with basketball. I'm shocked at your take of this because I was there. You and I were both covering the NBA Finals when the Lakers of Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, Karl Malone, and Gary Payton, all Hall of Famers, all all-time greats, took on the Detroit Pistons led by Chauncey Billups and Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace and Tayshaun Prince and Rip Hamilton in the finals. And we were covering, I was a neutral, guy writing about it for the New York Times.
I was neutral too. I'm a columnist.
I felt bad for you.
Stop, Chris.
From afar.
Stop.
I was about to invite you out to brunch to just be like, bro,
stop.
You got to quit the cheerleading. Put the pom-poms down. I mean, you were so biased for the Pistons. And now, when your boy Chauncey Billups, along with Vince Carter, congratulations to both of those guys. Know them both, like them both, really good guys, and great players. I got no issues with them being in the Hall of Fame. They are now going to be inducted into the class of 2024. I got no issues.
You have no issues because the standard of the Basketball Hall of Fame is ambiguous. Nobody knows what's the criteria.
Who's isn't there ambiguous?
No, this one is because it's all over the place, and I don't know what it is because Chris, when you talk about Hall of Fame, it's turned into the Hall of Very Good, and I'll say that when Scott
been the case for all the sports. I think football is the most stringent.
No, not at all. Because I'll tell you this. The hardest because
baseball ain't because Scott Rowland just got
in. Well, you're talking about one guy that squeaked in.
Others.
No, but I'm just saying there's a lot of guys, Chris, who didn't get in baseball who got into the Veterans Committee. They're questionable people.
They're in.
No, but my point is
all that Veterans Committee.
No, but my point is
they got in. So stop it.
Look, and I'm not here to rip down Chauncey's career because the other guys who have gotten in, Tracy McGrady, who couldn't get out of the first round, he's in. There are other guys. Chris, when you talk about Hall of Fame, to me, it's more than just compiling numbers and whatnot. It's about being like one of the greatest who ever played the game. That's me. I have a high threshold, and I'm not saying that other people aren't entitled to their opinions and their votes. I can't vote for you. I can't vote for the other writers who voted Scott Rowland in. I can't vote for the people who voted Chauncey Billups in. Those are their votes. But if you ask me, when you look at my ballot last year, baseball, I think I had 2 people on it. I have 10 votes. I think it should be where when you vote for the Hall of Fame, there should be no debate about you. When you talk about Julius Erving, Chris, Dr. J, there's no. Hear me out.
Hear me out. 50 best players ever.
No,
that's a different thing.
Hear me out. Not when it comes to the Hall of Fame. To me, if there's a debate about your career, you're not a Hall of Famer. It should be the best of the best. There can't be a debate about Hank Aaron. There can't be a debate about Willie Mays. Those are Hall of Famers to me. You got to have some sort of, when I vote for guys now, Chris, they have to have a magic number. 500 home runs, 3,000 hits, some milestone, something that I can look at. 300 wins as a pitcher. That's how I vote. Other guys have 10 votes. They fill their ballot and they just say, well, I got 10 votes. I'm going to vote for 10 people. There aren't 10 people eligible, or I should say worthy for a Hall of Fame. You take your vote seriously when you vote on stuff. You go through it. You look at it. I don't think everybody does that. And I'm talking about when you start to look at these Hall of Fames, I don't know how many texts I got from friends in Detroit who love Chauncey Billups, who love the Pistons, who love that 2014, but they're like, Hall of Fame? Like they don't think that a great run to a championship, Chris, and a finals MVP is worthy of saying, if he's not a Hall of Fame, then everybody else on that team, do they get into?
No, to me, he was the leader and best player. I mean, Ben Wallace is in. Chauncey was better. Ben Wallace, I know, won 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards.
How many players have done that?
That's fine, but Ben Wallace better than Chauncey Billups? I
didn't say better, but he has something.
Bruiser, but here's the thing, though, and I hear you on your points. And if we wanted to just you could set an incredibly high standard where basically the 50 best NBA players are in the Hall of Fame. And of course, Chauncey Billups isn't on that list. A lot of Hall of Famers aren't on that list. And you could do it for the same other sports as well. My point is this, Rob, and this is something you do have to grapple with. The precedent has been set.
I agree with you.
And it wasn't, let me finish. It wasn't set by you and me. All right? And the precedent has been set. There are guys from yesteryear who are in all of the Hall of Fames who might not have all the accolades, may not have been as great, but they're in. And now, so that's the standard, like it or not. Because if they let some guys who were really good but not great in 1975, and there are a host of guys in like that, now today we're supposed to cut it off and say, oh, now it's only going to be a guy that was, 4 times first team All-NBA. You got to win 2 MVPs to be. No, it's same thing with the MVP vote. When I vote, Rob, you know this. There's kind of been when voting for guys for MVP in the NBA, there's kind of been, some people term it voter fatigue. I think it's more, there are obviously several guys that have tremendous seasons every year. And it's like, if it's close, this guy's already got 3. This guy's an all-time great, doesn't have any, give him 1. I mean, Michael Jordan, Rob, this, could have won the MVP award 10 times. LeBron could have won it more than 4. There are a few other players we could name like that. But they gave Karl Malone 2. Was he ever better than Jordan? No. Barkley got 1. Was he ever better than Jordan? No. And now, so Jokic, who knows how many times he could get it in the future. But is that fair to the other guys? So now Jokic ends up being a guy with 8 MVPs because the criteria's changed. So I just think the precedent has been set. And I look at Chauncey Billups. Rob, do you have a problem with Reggie Miller being in the Hall of Fame?
No.
Okay. Chauncey Billups made as many All-Star teams. They both made 5. They both were 3-time All-Pros. But Chauncey's got some things that Reggie doesn't have. All-defensive player, won a championship. But Reggie's numbers aren't crazy great.
But didn't Reggie also, and here's the other issue with the basketball, don't they also count his college career? That's they counted Carmelo's.
Chauncey only played once.
No, but I'm just saying.
Didn't he only play 1 year at Colorado?
And the Olympics. I mean, there are other. That's the problem with the basketball Hall of Fame.
Reggie and Chauncey are in, and I think a lot of players
did Chauncey play on the Olympic
because
team?
Of their NBA career. I don't know offhand. I would assume he did.
He did in 96 and 97. Okay. He did.
They won it those years. They won the gold medals. But I'm looking at mainly NBA, and I think Vince. Do you have an issue with Vince? You got more of an issue with Chauncey or Vince?
Both of them. Vince is. I would give the nod to Dominique Wilkins, slightly better than Vince, but I think Vince is comparable. For more than a decade, Vince was 25 points a night, one of the most prolific scorers in the league, and obviously the dunking shouldn't put you in the Hall of Fame, but in my book, the greatest game dunker ever. And so, he's somewhat iconic. So I got no problem with either one of them. I hear what you're saying, but Vince Carter was phenomenal. Tracy McGrady was phenomenal. Rob, look, with all due respect, and he was great. And again, I got no issues with him being in the Hall of Fame. Okay, so let me ask you this real quick.
Tiny Archibald, Rob, had 4 great years. Same thing with Earl the Pearl Monroe. With Tiny, it was because of injuries. But look at Tiny's numbers.
But
he played.
Well, he was an MVP. What else did he have? He won a championship.
He was not an MVP. He won a
Tiny-
championship as a distributing point guard with the Celtics. When
okay.
Bird led him there.
Let me ask you this real quick.
I got no problem with Tiny.
Let me ask you this.
But I'm saying, look at some of the dudes. Earl the Pearl, Calvin Murphy. And you going to tell me Chauncey Billups can't be in? You got issues with him?
So let me ask you.
Calvin Murphy made one All-Star
Blake Griffin
team.
a Hall of Famer to you?
No.
Why not? He's got
I don't think he was good enough.
6-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, which is similar to Vince. Vince had 8 times Chris an All-Star and only twice.
I don't think Blake
twice
was,
all-time All-NBA. Twice.
Right. I don't just go off the accolades. Now, some people might look at Blake's accolades and say he's got to be in. I don't just go off that. But I don't think Blake was great, but I don't think he was a Hall of Famer.
Okay.
I don't think he was a Hall of Famer. All right, 877-99 on Fox. Rob Parker's got beef with Vince Carter and Chauncey Billups being in the Hall of Fame. I'm fine with it.
Yes, it's more too about where we are with Hall of Fames.
But it's where we've been. It ain't new.
But it's just
I just read to you guys from yesteryear who don't have near the accolades that some of the guys get in now.
Yeah, I think that we have tipped the scale where you're almost going to make Hall of Fames irrelevant. But we'll want to hear from you. 877
Rod, this sport's been around 80 years now. There's going to be a lot of people in there. 877-99 on Fox. Your turn to weigh in.
Darius in Seattle. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio.
Hey, how's it going? Okay, thanks for taking my call, first of all.
Yes, sir.
And I wanted to say this. It's supposed to be the Hall of Fame for people who are special, and people who break ground in some type of way, okay? Not the Hall of Very Good, not the Hall of Even Great. It's the Hall of Special. That's what makes the Hall of Fame. And Chauncey Billups ain't it. Vince Carter is because of his impact and because of his status as an icon and the way that he drew kids to the game and made them want to play the game. Nobody's out here on the.
So you think those types of things should be included, not just how good you were as a player. So in Alex English, and nobody went to see Alex English. He wasn't dunking. He was just a basic great scorer, but he shouldn't be in because of that.
No, what I'm saying is Alex English was special. Look at his consistency. He dominated scoring for an entire decade, 1980s, when you had guys scoring machines like Jordan, Bernard King.
Never made 3 All-NBA teams. Never went incredibly deep in the playoffs. Big-time scorer. I have no problem with him being in the Hall, but Rob, I mean, was he quote-unquote special? I mean, I'm just looking at his definition.
To me, it just seems like it's more Chris. And you know what? You could go back and look at and handpick, and I could probably agree with a lot of ones that you take a look at and really look at. We talked about it before. They're players who are in who, to me, are just very good. And there are a lot of very good players. That's what's supposed to make the place really special. It's not one that everybody gets in. And I understand people like people and they remember them for some moment or circumstance. But everybody doesn't belong next to some of these all-time greats. And that's what you should look at.
There are definitely levels.
Now, see, I don't think there is. I don't think there is.
Well, then you just going to have, I mean, again, like I said, if you just want to have the 25 best players
I'm happy with that. And
that's fine, but
if Wemby comes along, Chris, and if Wemby comes along and is generational and puts up some unbelievable things, then I'm just saying, and he has to stay healthy and all this other stuff. And if he does that, then I'm fine with putting him in. But I don't. Everybody else who was very good, or I'm not with those guys.
He's like the only name you can come to.
I'm just saying because he's new.
There's a lot of dudes that.
I'm just talking about because he's new. Mike in Augusta, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio.
Fellas, I'm going to be quick. First off, I want to thank you for taking my call and helping me to relax when I get home from work. I sit in the car and listen to y'all almost every night. It's been that way for years. All right. So as far as the Hall of Fames go, so the Basketball Hall of Fame is different from the other sports because there's no NBA Hall of Fame, which is why people like Christian Laettner and great college players. People had a great college career.
Yeah, I do think they should separate it.
I said this to Chris before.
Yeah.
Adam Silver, you want to have something?
I don't think
make
Laettner's
your own
in.
NBA Hall of Fame. Go ahead.
Laettner's not in.
I think
he was a
Lakers
great
should be
college
and
player.
Vince Carter, you can't tell the story of basketball without Vince Carter. But Chauncey Billups, I don't think he should be in the basketball or NBA Hall of Fame if they had one. But Vince has to be in because for a long time he was the face of basketball, and people wanted to be him, but they could never do what he did. Half man, half amazing, needs to be in the Hall of Fame. I think he deserves it.
Okay, Mike. Appreciate it. Thomas, in Victorville, California, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio.
Gentlemen, thank you for taking my call. Good evening to you.
How are you?
Good evening.
I'm good, man. Listen, my take kind of leans toward Mr. Parker's point of view, and I'm kind of interested to see how Chris takes this. But I have to ask a question first.
Go ahead.
Hello?
In order to become a voter.
Oh, we lost you.
Go ahead. Start it again. Yep, go ahead.
Okay, what is the criteria or qualifications a journalist has to have to become a voter?
Let me say in baseball, because I don't know what the Basketball Hall of Fame.
I'm not a voter in Basketball Hall of Fame.
And it's more than just writers in basketball. Yeah. In baseball, you have to have a baseball writer's card, and you have to have it for 10 consecutive years in order to be eligible. So if you had a card for 5 years, you didn't have it for your year 6, and then you tried to come back in year 7, you'd have to start all over. So it's 10 consecutive years of covering Major League Baseball in order to get a Hall of Fame vote.
Okay, is there a selection committee?
No, there's no selection. All you have to do for the people who are on the ballot, 5 years retired, everybody who's played is on the ballot as long as you've retired for 5 years. So there's no select. So that's why a lot of people are on the ballot. You see and go, he's on the Hall of Fame ballot. Everybody's on the ballot. That's how they do it.
Okay. Because my thought is this: I don't think the entire problem is just the vote. I think the voters have to, at some juncture, be held responsible for their choosing. I mean, again, when Rob says that these guys get 10 choices, I think we could say there's a lot of choices in the 10. And for me, I think that one of the answers might be is that the voters, their choices, unless it's anonymously, I think that their choices have to be reviewed to make sure that they should maintain their position.
We got to run. We got a guest coming up, but that's a good point, good call.
All right, MJ in New Orleans, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. Chime in.
What's going on? Happy worship Wednesday.
How are you?
Yep.
I'm blessed, man. Definitely tuning in. Thanks for taking my call. Definitely, I can go with what the committee has, enshrined him to be in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Definitely, big shot. He was that dude in college, and he, solid, definitely solid in the pros. Like you say, the All-Star games, the All-NBA. Yeah, they're in. There's nothing we can do in all of the so-called Hall of Fame. There's some players that we look at kind of funny, and you got to kind of look at it that even Tony Kukoc is in. Also,
but European players are in. Go look at the Basketball Hall of Fame. That's why
Kukoc shouldn't be a Hall of Fame.
I'm just saying, Chris.
If it's just all basketball,
that's the murky part is that
Drazen Petrovic is in,
right?
Who was great but only played 4 years, unfortunately, because of his tragic death.
The car crash. Don in D.C., you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Don?
Hey, how you guys doing? Hey, listen, just want to comment on the Chauncey Billups thing real quick. First of all, man, listen, if you got a nickname in the NBA, you got to be in the Hall of Fame. They call the guy Mr. Big Shot for a reason. He hit some of the biggest shots in his career in the NBA Finals. The guy has a Finals MVP. How could you not be in the Hall of Fame?
Well, just a Finals MVP.
Everybody,
Finals MVP don't make you a Hall
Chris,
of Fame.
who was it with the Celtics?
Cedric Maxwell.
Cedric Maxwell has a Finals MVP. Stop.
No.
Right.
Yeah, come on.
That can't be.
And nickname, I'm sure if I think hard enough, Rob, we can think of some guys with nicknames who are just average players.
That ain't enough,
off the
right?
Top of my head, but
that ain't enough. That wasn't well thought out, Don. I'm sorry, Kenny.
Not a Hall of Fame take right there.
Yes, no, not at all. You should be in the
Oliver Miller? What was his name? Remember him? played in Phoenix. What was his name? Big O was one of them. I'm gonna come up with his name.
Yeah, Kenny in Reno. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up,
Big
Kenny?
O? Oliver Miller. That's who he was. Yeah.
What's up?
Just mainly, it's about famous. I mean, that the name says it all in itself. It's not about compiling. It's not about stats. It's about
It can't just be about fame, though. I get
why
it.
They call it a Hall of Fame.
Well, why they say the most valuable player? Because it's not who's the most valuable to his team. It's who we think had the best year. We could take if it was just MVP, Rob, and this goes for all the sports, then we wouldn't take record into account. It would just be like, man, what guy is most important to his team? Period.
And there would be a lot of players. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Without them, they would have won 10 games. Right.
Right. We can't. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but Rob, there's some average players that are famous. You can't put them in the Hall of Fame.
Nah, it's got to be about. To me, it's a combination of things, and winning, Chris, and numbers and trophies and hardware. That's why I love, the 3 numbers that I have in baseball. At least I have a guide. Well, and I stay consistent.
Let me ask you, are you Rafael Palmeiro?
No, because he got suspended by the league. No, he didn't get my vote. Anybody who was suspended by the league, Chris, didn't get my vote. If you didn't get suspended by the league.
Ramirez?
Nope. No A-Rod.
Test.
Right.
So A-Rod won't get your vote.
No, he got suspended.
But Barry, even though he didn't get caught.
No, he never got suspended and never had a positive test. So I vote for him. I do.